The crystal halls of Kethros Prime sparkled with light from 3 suns. Inside the Grand Council chamber, 7 alien species gathered for an important meeting. They called themselves the Vexthul Concordat, the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. Today they had one topic to discuss: the humans. High Admiral Thexvon stood at the center of the room. His crystalline body reflected rainbow colors as he moved. He had lived for over 300 years and commanded fleets that conquered dozens of worlds. Today he was almost bored. The humans were not worth his time. He activated a hologram in the middle of the chamber. A bulky human warship appeared, rotating slowly. The other aliens leaned forward to look. "This is their most advanced vessel," Thexvon said, his voice like wind chimes. "They call it a destroyer. We call it primitive." Laughter rippled through the chamber. The Chiric's representative, Rixtal, clicked his mandibles in amusement. His insect-like body shook with what passed for laughter among his kind. "Look at those engines," Rixtal said. "They still use fusion drives. My hatchlings build better toys." More laughter. Thexvon changed the hologram to show human weapons. Nuclear missiles, railguns that shot metal slugs, basic laser cannons. "Their most powerful weapon is atomic fission," Thexvon continued. "We abandoned such crude tools 10,000 years ago. They fight with explosives and kinetic force. It is almost charming." A voice cut through the mockery. "I disagree." Everyone turned. Ambassador Valkyra floated near the back of the chamber. Her energy-based form glowed softly. She was a Lumini, a species made of pure light and consciousness. She rarely spoke at these meetings, which made her words carry weight. "You should not dismiss them so quickly," Valkyra said. Her voice was soft but firm. "I have studied these humans. Their history is troubling." Thexvon waved a crystalline hand dismissively. "Every species has a violent past. They will learn civilization or they will learn obedience." "That is my point," Valkyra pressed on. "Most species grow peaceful before they reach space. The humans did not. They fought wars even as they built their first rockets. They created weapons that could destroy their own planet. Then they built more. They survived 5 major extinction events, 3 of which they caused themselves." The chamber grew quiet. Valkyra continued. "They weaponized diseases. They split atoms to create bombs. They fought each other for thousands of years and never stopped. Even now in space, their colonies war with each other. These are not a peaceful species playing with guns. These are survivors who never learned to stop fighting." Rixtal clicked his mandibles again, but this time not in laughter. "Are you saying we should fear them? With their slow ships and primitive weapons?" "I am saying we should be careful," Valkyra replied. "A cornered animal is always dangerous." Thexvon's crystalline body flashed with annoyance. "Enough, the decision is made. We will send the Grand Armada, 700 warships against their 42. We will arrive at their homeworld. They will see our power and they will surrender. It will take 1 week. This discussion is over." The council agreed. Valkyra said nothing more, but her light dimmed with worry. 3 days later, Admiral Taman Kang stood in the command center of Earth's defense headquarters. He was 58 years old with gray hair and a face marked by old scars. He had fought in the colony wars, the brutal conflict when human settlements fought each other for resources. He had seen what humans did when they fought for survival. Now he watched a screen showing the alien Armada approaching. 700 ships, each one massive, moving in perfect formation. They would arrive in 6 days. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked his second officer. Kang did not take his eyes off the screen. "Mobilize the entire fleet, every ship we have, and send a message to the moon base." "What message, sir?" "Tell Dr. Yoon to activate Project Endgame." The officer's face went pale. "Sir, that project was declared too dangerous. The council banned it 15 years ago." Kang finally turned to face him. His eyes were cold and hard. "The council banned it? I never destroyed it. Send the message." Deep beneath the surface of Earth's moon, Dr. Hana Yoon received the message. She stood in a vast underground laboratory, surrounded by equipment that hummed with barely contained power. She was 43 years old, thin and tired, with dark circles under her eyes. She had not slept well in 15 years. Project Endgame, the weapon she had created and wished she could forget. Her assistant, a young scientist named Kai, read the message over her shoulder. "Dr. Yoon, is this real? Are they really coming?" "Yes," she said quietly. "Get the team. We have 6 days to finish what we started. But the risks. The simulations showed." "I know what the simulations showed." Yoon cut him off. Her voice cracked slightly. I ran them 1,000 times. I know exactly what this weapon can do. She walked to the center of the laboratory. In the middle of the room sat a cylindrical device 3 meters long, covered in warning labels and cooling systems. It looked almost ordinary, like any other missile. That was intentional. The aliens would need to see it as just another primitive weapon, until it was too late. What did we call it? Kai asked, staring at the device. Yoon's hands trembled as she activated the control panel. The unraveling. We called it the unraveling because that is what it does. It unravels the fundamental forces that hold matter together. And if it works, the alien fleet will cease to exist. And if it does not stop, if the reaction spreads? Yoon did not answer for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. Then we all cease to exist. The aliens, us, everything. That evening, Admiral Kang called a meeting with General Ji-Won Lee, the head of Earth's Planetary Defense Council. Lee was a political leader, not a military one. She believed in diplomacy and finding peaceful solutions. She did not like what she was hearing. You want to use a weapon that might destroy our own planet? She asked, her voice rising. Have you lost your mind? Kang remained calm. We have 42 ships. They have 700. Our weapons are weaker. Our ships are slower. If we fight them conventionally, we lose. If we surrender, we become slaves. This weapon gives us one chance. A chance to commit suicide. Lee slammed her hand on the table. There must be another way. There is not, Kang said simply. I have run every simulation, every scenario. This is the only path where humanity survives. Survives? Lee laughed bitterly. You just said the weapon might kill us all. It might kill us. Surrender will definitely enslave us. I choose might. Lee stared at him for a long moment. Then she sat down, suddenly looking very old and very tired. If we do this, if we use this weapon, we become the monsters they think we are. Kang's expression did not change. Better a living monster than a dead angel. The vote was close, but the council approved the plan. Project Endgame was officially activated. Across the solar system, the alien Armada continued its approach. On the flagship, High Admiral Thexvon prepared his speech, the one he would give when the humans surrendered. He had given such speeches before on other worlds. It was always the same. The primitives saw the fleet, realized they were beaten, and gave up. This time would be no different. He did not know that deep in a lunar laboratory, a weapon beyond his imagination was being prepared. He did not know that humans had learned long ago that survival required terrible choices. He did not know that humanity had built weapons not for glory or honor, but for one single purpose, to kill efficiently. And he did not know that in 6 days, his laughter would turn to ashes. 4 days remained before the alien fleet reached Earth. The entire solar system buzzed with activity, as humanity prepared for a battle they could not win through normal means. In the lunar laboratory, Dr. Hana Yoon had not slept in 2 days. Her team worked around the clock, assembling the final components of the unraveling. The weapon sat in the center of the lab, looking deceptively simple. Just a metal cylinder with cooling systems and guidance fins. Anyone looking at it would think it was just another missile. That was exactly the point. Yoon ran another simulation on her computer. The numbers were the same as always. If the weapon worked perfectly, it would destroy the alien fleet. But there was a problem. The quantum disruption it created could not be controlled precisely. Once started, it would spread through any connected energy field. The alien ships all used the same power network. They connected their shields and weapons together for efficiency. That network would carry the unraveling through their entire fleet like a disease through a body. But the reaction might not stop there. Yoon stared at the probability numbers. 34% chance the reaction would spread beyond the alien fleet. 12% chance it would reach Earth. 3% chance it would consume the entire solar system. Her assistant Kai approached quietly. Dr. Yoon, the council wants a briefing. They want to know exactly what will happen. Yoon closed her eyes. Tell them the truth. Tell them we might save Earth or we might destroy it. Those are the only options. 2 hours later, Yoon stood before the Planetary Defense Council. General Ji-Won Lee sat at the head of the table, her face drawn with stress. Other council members filled the room, all waiting to hear what this weapon could do. Yoon activated a hologram showing the weapon's effect. The unraveling works by disrupting zero-point energy at the quantum level. In simple terms, it makes the forces holding atoms together stop working. Matter breaks down into base particles. So it destroys things, one council member said. How is that different from a nuclear bomb? A nuclear bomb releases energy from atoms, Yoon explained. The unraveling makes the atoms themselves cease to exist. And it spreads. Through energy fields. Through power networks. Once it starts, it keeps going until it runs out of connected matter. The room fell silent. General Lee spoke carefully. Dr. Yoon, what is the worst-case scenario? Yoon's voice shook slightly. The reaction reaches Earth's power grid. Our satellites. Our space stations. Everything connected to our energy network unravels. Then it spreads to the planet itself. Best estimate, 3 billion dead in the first hour. Complete extinction within a day. And you built this? Another council member asked, horror in their voice. I built this 15 years ago, Yoon replied. During the colony wars, when we were killing each other by the millions. I built it so we would never be helpless again. I built it hoping we would never use it. She pulled up another image showing the alien fleet approaching. But now we need it. Because surrender means slavery, and slavery means the end of everything we are. So yes, I built this, and yes, it might kill us all. But it is the only weapon that can stop them. The council debated for hours. Some argued for surrender. Some argued for conventional warfare, even knowing they would lose. Some argued for evacuation, abandoning Earth entirely. In the end, they voted. The unraveling would be used. General Lee cast the final vote, her hand shaking as she pressed the button. Afterward, she remained in the chamber alone, staring at her hands. Hands that might have just signed humanity's death warrant. While Earth's leaders struggled with their choice, Admiral Kang prepared the military side. He gathered his fleet commanders in a secure briefing room. 42 ship captains representing humanity's entire space navy. They knew the odds. 700 alien ships against their 42. No one expected to survive. Kang stood before them, his scarred face impassive. Our job is simple. We attack the alien fleet with everything we have. We keep them busy. We make them focus on us. While they are distracted, one pilot will deliver our real weapon to the center of their formation. A suicide mission, one captain said quietly. Yes, Kang agreed. For all of us. The fleet will be destroyed. Most likely none of us will return. But if we succeed, Earth survives. That is the mission. Silence filled the room. Then, one by one, every captain nodded. Who will deliver the weapon? Someone asked. A young officer stood up from the back of the room. Captain Minho Park was only 28 years old, the youngest fleet captain in history. He was a brilliant pilot but had never seen real combat. His hands trembled slightly as he spoke. I volunteer, sir. I am the best stealth pilot we have. I can get through their formation. Kang studied the young man. You understand what you are volunteering for? The weapon must be delivered to the exact center of their fleet. You will be in the heart of enemy territory when it detonates. There is no escape. Park swallowed hard but kept his voice steady. I understand, sir. My life for Earth, it is a fair trade. Kang nodded slowly. Then it is decided. Captain Park will pilot the delivery craft. The rest of us will ensure he reaches his target. That night, Park sat alone in his quarters, recording a message for his younger sister. She was only 16, still in school, dreaming of becoming a doctor. He tried to explain why he was doing this, but the words would not come. How do you explain dying to someone who still has so much life ahead? Finally, he just said, I love you. Take care of Mom. And remember, everything I did was to give you a future. Use it well. He stopped the recording and stared at the wall. Tomorrow he would board his stealth craft. Tomorrow he would fly into the alien fleet. Tomorrow he would die. He was terrified. But he was also determined. His fear did not matter. Only the mission mattered. While humanity prepared for war, Ambassador Valkyra made one last attempt at peace. From her diplomatic ship following the Armada, she sent an urgent message to High Admiral Thexvon. Admiral, I request we delay the arrival by 1 week. Give diplomacy more time. The humans may yet surrender peacefully. Thexvon's reply was swift and dismissive. Absolutely not. We have shown enough patience. The humans will see our fleet, they will surrender, and this will be over. Your concerns are noted but overruled. Valkyra felt something she rarely experienced. Genuine fear. She had studied Earth's history. She knew what humans did when cornered. But she could not convince the others. They only saw primitive weapons and slow ships. They could not see the danger underneath. In a decision that could cost her everything, Valkyra sent an encrypted message to Earth. She transmitted the alien fleet's formation patterns, their shield frequencies, their command ship locations. It was treason. If discovered, she would be executed. But she did it anyway, hoping it might make a difference. The message reached Admiral Kang within hours. He studied the data carefully. With this information, Captain Park's chances of reaching the fleet center improved from nearly impossible to merely suicidal. It was not much, but it was something. Who sent this? One of his officers asked. Someone who does not want this war, Kang replied. Someone who understands what is coming. On the final day before battle, Dr. Yoon personally loaded the Unraveling onto Park's stealth craft. Her hands shook as she connected the guidance systems. This weapon, her creation, would either save humanity or destroy it. There was no middle ground, Dr. Yoon, Park said softly. If this works, will anyone remember that we tried peace first? She looked at the young pilot. So young, too young to die. I do not know, she answered honestly. History is written by survivors. We will either survive as heroes or die as fools. Either way, we chose to fight for our freedom. Park nodded and climbed into his cockpit. The canopy sealed with a hiss. Through the glass, Yoon could see him running through pre-flight checks, his face pale but focused. Across the solar system, 42 human warships powered up their engines. Crews said goodbye to families through video messages. Weapons were loaded. Shields were charged. Everyone knew what was coming. Admiral Kang sat in his command chair watching his fleet assemble. He thought about the colony wars, about all the death he had seen. He thought about the choice he had made, to use a weapon that might kill everyone. He felt no guilt, no pride, just cold necessity. All ships report ready, sir, his communications officer said. Kang activated the fleet-wide channel. This is Admiral Kang to all ships. In 12 hours, we face an enemy that considers us primitives. They think we will surrender. They think we will be easy to defeat. They are wrong. Humans do not surrender when survival is at stake. Humans do not play by rules when our existence is threatened. We fight to win. We fight to survive, and we will do whatever it takes. All ships advanced to engagement range. The fleet moved forward. Behind them, hidden in the shadow of Jupiter, Captain Park's stealth craft drifted silently, waiting for its moment. The countdown had begun. The alien Armada entered the outer solar system in perfect formation. 700 warships, each one gleaming in the distant sunlight, moved as one coordinated entity. Their shields shimmered with energy. Their weapons powered up. They expected a quick battle, if the humans even dared to fight at all. On the command ship, High Admiral Thexvon observed the human fleet approaching. 42 ships scattered across space, like insects trying to defend a nest. He almost felt pity for them. Almost. Open communications, he ordered. Let us give them one final chance to surrender. The transmission reached Admiral Kang's flagship. Thexvon's crystalline face appeared on the screen, his voice like wind chimes. Humans of Earth, this is your last opportunity. Surrender now, and your species will be incorporated into the Concordat. You will be taught civilization. You will learn your place. Resist, and you will be destroyed. Choose wisely. Kang sat in his command chair studying the alien admiral. 3 centuries old, Thexvon had conquered dozens of worlds. He had never lost a battle. He was confident, arrogant even. That arrogance would be his downfall. Kang leaned forward and spoke one word. No. He cut the transmission. On the alien flagship, Thexvon stared at the blank screen, genuinely surprised. Most species begged for mercy at this point. Most tried to negotiate. This simple refusal confused him. Sir, they are powering weapons, his tactical officer reported. Thexvon shook his head in disbelief. They actually intend to fight. How adorable. All ships prepare for combat. Show them the cost of defiance. The battle began with a human surprise attack. Instead of forming a defensive line, the human ships scattered and attacked from multiple angles. They launched nuclear missiles in waves, fired their railguns at maximum range, and detonated mines hidden in debris fields. The alien shields absorbed most of the damage easily, but the tactics confused them. The humans were not fighting honorably. They were fighting like wild animals, striking and retreating using every dirty trick they knew. 3 human ships deliberately rammed alien vessels, their reactors overloading on impact. The explosions barely scratched the alien shields, but they disrupted the formation. More human ships dove into the alien fleet, firing at point-blank range before being destroyed. "They are insane," an alien officer muttered, watching the tactical display. "They are throwing away their lives for nothing." But Tactical Overseer Rixtal, the Chiric's second-in-command, understood. His compound eyes studied the battle patterns. The human attacks were not random. They were pulling the alien fleet deeper into engagement, drawing their attention to specific areas. "Admiral," Rixtal clicked urgently, "this is a diversion. They are hiding something." Thex Von waved a dismissive hand. "Of course it is a diversion. They are desperate. All ships maintain formation and eliminate the human vessels. This will be over soon." While the main battle raged, Captain Minho Park guided his stealth craft through the chaos. His ship was small, barely larger than a fighter, with advanced cloaking that made it nearly invisible. He flew through fields of debris, using destroyed ships as cover, slowly working his way toward the center of the alien formation. His hands were steady on the controls, but sweat dripped down his face. Every few seconds, an alien ship would pass dangerously close. His sensors screamed warnings as weapons fire crossed his path. One hit would destroy his fragile craft. "Target zone in 3 minutes," his computer announced calmly. Park checked his cargo one more time. The Unraveling sat in its launch bay, ready to deploy. It looked so small, so ordinary. Just a missile. The aliens would never suspect what it really was until too late. Behind him, the human fleet was dying. Ship after ship exploded under alien fire. Admiral Kang watched his fleet's numbers drop on his tactical display. 38 ships remaining. Then 35. Then 30. They were buying time with their lives. "Admiral, hull breach on Deck 7, someone reported. Kang's own flagship was taking damage. "Seal it and continue firing," Kang ordered. "All ships maintain the attack. Give Captain Park every second we can." On the alien flagship, Rixtal's sensors finally detected something. A small craft, barely visible, moving through their formation. "Admiral?" Unknown vessel detected in Sector 7. "It is heading toward our command ships." Thex Von glanced at the reading. "One small craft? Probably a scout. Ignore it. Focus on the actual threats. Sir, I recommend we intercept. The humans are sacrificing too much for this to be—" "I said ignore it." Thex Von's voice rang with authority. "Destroy the main fleet. Everything else is insignificant." Rixtal wanted to argue but could not. In their culture, the Admiral's word was absolute. He could only watch as the small human craft continued its approach. Park reached the center of the alien formation. Around him, massive warships floated in perfect order, their shields interconnected, their power systems linked, just as intelligence had reported. Just as the unraveling needed, launch position achieved, his computer reported. Ready to deploy weapon. Park's finger hovered over the launch button. This was it. The moment that would either save humanity or doom it. He thought of his sister, of his mother, of all the people on Earth depending on him. He thought of the crew members dying out there in the main battle, buying him these precious seconds. He pressed the button. The unraveling launched from his craft, silently. The missile appeared on alien sensors as just another human weapon. A primitive nuclear device, they assumed, not worth wasting ammunition on. The missile reached the exact center of the fleet and detonated. At first, nothing visible happened. No explosion, no flash, no shockwave. For a moment, everyone thought the weapon had failed. Then one alien ship's shields flickered and collapsed. Then another. Then 10 more. The quantum disruption spread through their interconnected power network like lightning through metal. The very system that made their formation so powerful became their death sentence. Energy fields destabilized. Molecular bonds broke down. Matter returned to base particles. Ships did not explode. They simply stopped existing. Hulls turned to dust. Crews vanished. 700 warships began to disintegrate simultaneously, breaking apart at the atomic level. On his flagship, Thex Von watched in horror as his command console showed ship after ship going offline. Not destroyed, not damaged, just gone. Erased from existence. What is happening? He demanded. What weapon is this? Rixtal's voice was quiet, almost awed. They weaponized entropy itself. They found a way to make matter simply stop being matter. The disruption reached Thex Von's flagship. He felt his crystalline body beginning to break down, felt the forces holding him together coming apart. In his final seconds, he understood. The humans were not primitive. They were hiding something worse than any civilization had dared to create. His last thought was simple. We should have listened to the warnings. Then, he ceased to exist. Captain Park's stealth craft, caught at the edge of the quantum field, began to disintegrate. He had time for one final transmission. Weapon deployed successfully, he reported calmly. Tell my sister I... Static on his flagship, Admiral Kang heard the transmission end. He knew what it meant. Park was gone, but the mission was complete. All ships retreat immediately, Kang ordered. Maximum speed. Get clear of the disruption field. The surviving human ships turned and fled. Behind them, the quantum reaction continued to spread. 700 alien warships simply dissolved into particles and dust. An entire armada, gone in less than 60 seconds. From her diplomatic vessel safely outside the combat zone, Ambassador Valkyra watched through her sensors. She had hoped to be wrong. She had prayed that her fears were paranoid. But now she witnessed the truth. Humanity had just demonstrated the most terrifying weapon the galaxy had ever seen. She immediately transmitted an emergency message to the Concordat. Abort all operations against Earth immediately. They have a weapon that makes them untouchable. But even as she sent the warning, she watched her sensors with growing dread. The quantum disruption was still spreading. It had consumed the alien fleet. Now it was moving outward, toward the outer planets, toward the inner solar system, toward Earth. On the lunar base, Dr. Hana Yoon stared at her instruments in horror. The reaction was not stopping. Her worst-case scenarios were playing out in real time. The quantum disruption had reached Jupiter's orbit and was still expanding. How long until it reaches Earth? Someone asked. Yoon's voice shook as she answered. If it maintains current speed, 12 hours. Maybe less. Humanity had won the battle. They had destroyed the alien fleet. But in doing so, they might have destroyed themselves. The weapon that saved them could now kill them all. And there was nothing anyone could do but wait and see if they would survive the night. 12 hours passed. Earth held its breath. In the lunar laboratory, Dr. Hana Yoon had not moved from her monitoring station. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, her hands trembling as she tracked the quantum disruption field spreading through the solar system. The reaction had consumed the alien fleet. It had reached Saturn's orbit. Then it began to slow. Dr. Yoon, her assistant Kai said quietly, the decay rate is increasing. The reaction is losing energy faster than predicted. Yoon pulled up the new calculations. Her breath caught. It is going to stop. Just past Neptune's orbit. Earth is safe. The relief in the room was overwhelming. Scientists hugged each other. Some cried. They had survived. Humanity had survived. But the celebration was brief. As the initial relief faded, reality set in. They had killed 2.4 million alien beings, an entire armada erased from existence. And Earth's own losses were devastating too. 38 of 42 ships destroyed, 14,000 human lives lost, including Captain Minho Park. Yoon sat down slowly, staring at her screens showing the numbers. So many dead, all because of her creation. She had wanted to protect humanity. Instead, she had become the architect of mass death on a scale never before seen. Across the galaxy, news of the Armada's destruction spread like wildfire. The 7 species of the Concordat reacted with shock and horror. Some called for immediate retaliation, others demanded caution. A few called for peace at any cost. The unified front that had seemed so strong shattered overnight. The Kethros blamed the Curix for poor intelligence. The Lumini demanded an investigation. The other species withdrew their fleets to defensive positions, suddenly very aware that humanity possessed a weapon none of them could match. Ambassador Valkyra arrived at Earth 3 days after the battle. Her ship transmitted surrender signals continuously. She came unarmed with only a small diplomatic staff. When she appeared before Earth's Planetary Defense Council, she spoke bluntly. The Concordat is fractured. No one wants to be the next target of your weapon. I am authorized to negotiate whatever terms you demand. Peace, trade agreements, territory. Name your price. General Jiwan Lee sat at the head of the council table, looking tired and old. You came to conquer us. Now you beg for mercy. Do you see the irony? Valkyra's energy form flickered. I see it clearly. We underestimated you. We thought primitive weapons meant a primitive species. We were wrong. Catastrophically wrong. Admiral Kang entered the room. He looked different now. The battle had aged him. He moved stiffly, nursing injuries from when his flagship took damage, but his eyes were still sharp, still calculating. We do not want territory, Kang said. We do not want tribute. We want one thing, to be left alone. Recognize Earth as sovereign. Stay out of our space. Never threaten us again. Those are our terms. Agreed, Valkyra said immediately. But there is a problem. Not all concordant species will accept this. Some see your victory as an insult. They will want revenge. Let them try, Kang replied coldly. We have more weapons like the one we used. Many more, he was lying. The unraveling was the only one of its kind. But Valkyra did not need to know that. The threat was enough. While diplomats negotiated, Earth's population struggled with what had happened. News of the battle spread quickly. Footage showed the alien fleet simply dissolving into nothing. The images were both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Some people celebrated. Humanity had defended itself. They had proven they could stand against any threat. Parades were held. Monuments were planned. The crews who died in battle were hailed as heroes, but others protested. They called the use of the unraveling an act of genocide. They argued that 2.4 million deaths was too high a price even for victory. They demanded that everyone involved in the decision be tried for war crimes. General Lee faced 3 votes of no confidence in Parliament. Each time she survived by narrow margins. In a televised address, she defended the decision. We did not want this war, she said, her voice shaking with emotion. We tried peace. We tried negotiation. The Concordat gave us one choice, surrender or die. We chose neither. We chose to fight. I will not apologize for that choice. I will not apologize for humanity's survival. The speech divided public opinion even further. Some called her a hero. Others called her a war criminal. Earth had won the war but was losing the peace with itself. Dr. Yoon struggled most of all. The guilt of what she had created consumed her. 2 weeks after the battle, she attempted to take her own life. Her assistant found her in time and called for medical help. She survived but was committed to psychiatric care. In therapy, she spoke about her family. Her husband and daughter, killed years ago in the colony wars. She had built the unraveling to prevent such loss from happening again. But now she had caused even more death. The logic broke her mind. I wanted to save people, she told her therapist, but I just found a new way to kill them. What does that make me? Her therapist had no answer. Some questions have no good answers. Admiral Kang received the news about Yoon with a grim expression. He visited her in the hospital, sitting beside her bed while she stared at the ceiling. You saved humanity, he told her quietly. That weapon, your creation, had kept us free. At what cost? She whispered. 2.4 million lives. That is the price of our freedom. Was it worth it? Kang was silent for a long moment. I do not know, he finally admitted. I know we survived. Whether that justifies what we did, history will decide, not us. 3 months after the battle, a formal peace summit was arranged on a neutral station. Earth sent General Lee, Admiral Kang, and a team of diplomats. The concordant species sent their own representatives, but the unity was gone. Each species negotiated separately, more concerned with protecting themselves than presenting a united front. The negotiations took weeks. In the end, humanity got what it demanded: recognition as a sovereign species, guaranteed borders, non-interference agreements. The Concordat even offered trade partnerships and technology exchanges, but not everyone agreed. The Kethros and Chirix refused to sign the final treaty. They withdrew from the negotiations, making vague threats about future reckoning. The galaxy had split into 3 camps: those who accepted human power, those who opposed it, and those trying to stay neutral. During a private meeting, Valkyra shared disturbing intelligence with Earth's leaders. 3 species are trying to replicate your weapon. They are studying the quantum signatures from the battle. They want their own version of the unraveling. Admiral Kang had expected this. How long until they succeed? Unknown. Your weapon is based on physics they do not fully understand. It could take decades or years, or months if they are lucky. General Lee closed her eyes in frustration. We opened Pandora's box. Now everyone wants what is inside. Yes, Valkyra agreed. You demonstrated that such a weapon is possible. That was enough. The arms race has begun. After the meeting, Kang stood alone on the observation deck of the station looking at the stars. He had won the war. He had saved humanity. But he had also started something that might never end. An arms race with weapons that could destroy entire star systems. Thinking about the future? General Lee joined him at the window. Thinking about consequences, Kang replied. We survived. But at what cost? Not just the deaths. The fear, the hatred. Every species now sees humans as dangerous. Some respect that. Others will spend centuries planning revenge. Do you regret it? Using the weapon? Kang was quiet for a long time. No, he finally said. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that we were put in that position. But I do not regret surviving. Given the same choice again, I would make the same decision. Lee nodded slowly. That is what frightens me. That we can make such terrible choices and not regret them. What does that say about us? It says we are survivors, Kang replied. It says we will do whatever it takes to remain free. Whether that makes us heroes or monsters, I cannot say. But it makes us human. Back on Earth, memorial services were held for the 14,000 who died in the battle. Captain Minho Park's name was carved into a monument along with all the others. His younger sister attended the ceremony, tears streaming down her face. She had received his final message, the one he recorded before the mission. In that message, he had told her to use her future well, to become a doctor, to help people, to make his sacrifice worth something. She made a promise to his memory. She would do exactly that. Years later, she would become one of Earth's leading doctors. She would save thousands of lives, and she would spend her entire career arguing for peace, for diplomacy, for alternatives to war. She would honor her brother by trying to make sure no one else had to make his choice. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had proven they could defend themselves, but they had also proven they were willing to risk everything, including their own survival, to remain free. That made them dangerous. That made them feared. And fear, as everyone knows, is just as powerful as any weapon. 5 years passed. The galaxy learned to live with a new reality. Humanity was no longer the primitive species to be conquered. They were the species to be feared. Earth's borders expanded slowly but steadily. New colonies were established on planets the Concordat had previously claimed. No one challenged these expansions. No one dared. The memory of 700 ships dissolving into nothing was too fresh, too terrifying. In orbit around Earth, a massive monument floated in space. It could be seen from the planet's surface on clear nights, a bright point of light among the stars. The monument was made of dark metal, inscribed with 14,000 names, the crew members who died in the Battle of Terran space. But the monument had a second inscription, controversial from the day it was installed. They laughed at our weapons. We showed them why laughter dies in war. Let this be the last time any species learns this lesson. Some called it appropriate, a reminder of what humanity could do when threatened. Others called it arrogant, a celebration of mass death. The debate never ended, just like the debate about the war itself never ended. Admiral Taemin Kang had retired 2 years after the battle. He was 65 now, living in a quiet colony far from Earth. He spent his days writing a memoir that would be sealed for a century. In it, he detailed every decision, every calculation, every terrible choice he made. He did not write it to justify himself. He wrote it so future generations would understand what survival sometimes required. He wrote it so they would know the true cost of freedom. His final entry read, I made humanity safe. I also made us feared. That is the burden of command. You survive with blood on your hands. Dr. Hana Yoon had recovered from her breakdown, though she would never be the same. She now led Project Guardian, an international research initiative working with friendly alien species to develop defenses against quantum disruption weapons. It was her way of trying to balance what she had created. The irony was not lost on her. She had built a weapon to protect humanity. Now she was trying to protect everyone from weapons like it. She worked 16-hour days, driven by guilt and purpose in equal measure. One day, a reporter asked her if she regretted creating the unraveling. Her answer was careful. I regret that it existed. I regret that we used it. But I do not regret that humanity survived. Those two truths exist together. They always will. She won the Galactic Peace Prize 3 years after the battle. She accepted it with tears in her eyes, knowing it could never bring back the millions who died. But she accepted it anyway because refusing would dishonor their memory even more. General Jiwan Lee remained as head of the Planetary Defense Council. She survived 7 votes of no confidence over the years, each one closer than the last. She became the voice of cautious diplomacy, always pushing for peaceful solutions while maintaining military readiness. She understood the paradox better than anyone. Humanity had achieved peace through violence. Now they had to maintain that peace through the threat of more violence. It was an impossible balance, but someone had to try to maintain it. In interviews, she was always asked the same question: was it worth it? Her answer never changed: we survived. Whether survival at that cost is worth it, each person must decide for themselves. I know only that I would make the same choice again. Because the alternative was extinction. Ambassador Valkyra became the first non-human to receive honorary Earth citizenship. She served as the primary bridge between humanity and the friendlier alien species. Her unique position, trusted by both sides, made her invaluable in preventing misunderstandings that could escalate to conflict. She wrote extensively about both humans and the concordate species, trying to build understanding across the cultural divide. Her most famous work was titled The Price of Arrogance: How Underestimating Humanity Changed the Galaxy Forever. It became required reading in diplomatic academies across known space. Not all species accepted the new order. The Kethros and Chirix maintained their opposition to human expansion. They formed their own alliance, smaller than the original concordate but still dangerous. Intelligence reports suggested they were developing their own quantum weapons, though progress was slow. The Cold War that had begun after the Battle of Terran Space continued. Both sides built up their militaries. Both sides prepared for a war neither wanted to start. The galaxy existed in tense equilibrium, maintained by mutual fear. On Earth, society remained divided. Peace activists argued for complete disarmament. Military advocates demanded more weapons like the Unraveling. Most people fell somewhere in between, wanting safety but uncomfortable with the methods required to achieve it. Captain Minho Park's sister, Dr. Haeun Park, became one of Earth's most prominent physicians. She saved thousands of lives in her career. She also became a leading peace activist, arguing that her brother had died hoping to end war, not justify more of it. She gave speeches at universities, always carrying a photo of her brother in his uniform. "The brave ones die so the rest of us can live," she would say. "We honor them not by celebrating war but by working for peace. That is the real lesson of their sacrifice." Her message resonated with many but not all. The debate about the war, about the weapon, about the cost of survival continued without resolution. Perhaps it always would. On a space station orbiting Jupiter, the Joint Defense Academy opened its doors. It was humanity's first military school that accepted alien students. The program was small and experimental, but it represented something new: cooperation born from mutual respect rather than conquest. In one classroom, human and alien cadets studied military history together. The Battle of Terran Space was always the most difficult lesson. The professor, a veteran of that battle, taught it without pride or shame. Just facts, just consequences. After one such class, a young alien cadet approached a human classmate. They stood by the observation window looking at the stars. "Do you think they were right to do it?" the alien asked, referring to the use of the Unraveling. The human cadet was quiet for a moment. "I think they did what survival required. Whether that makes it right, I do not know. Maybe there is no right answer. Maybe there are only choices and consequences. But 2.4 million deaths against 8 billion human lives." The human interrupted gently. "That was the choice. Save ourselves or let ourselves be enslaved. There were no other options." "And you think that justifies it?" The human shook their head. "I do not know if anything justifies it. I only know they made their choice. And because of that choice, we are standing here, having this conversation. We exist because they chose survival over surrender." Both cadets fell silent, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, species still feared humanity. Somewhere out there, weapons were being developed to match the Unraveling. Somewhere out there, the next war was waiting to begin. But in that moment, in that classroom, 2 young people from different worlds tried to understand each other, tried to learn from the past, tried to build something better than endless war. It was not much, but it was a start. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson: never laugh at human weapons. Not because they are superior, not because they are more advanced, but because humans will embrace any weapon, accept any risk, pay any price to remain free. Other species evolved past their violent natures before reaching space. Humans did not. They carried their capacity for violence with them to the stars. They remembered how to fight for survival. They remembered that sometimes the only way to preserve peace is to be capable of terrible war. The Concordat had seen humanity's primitive ships and weapons and assumed they were safe to conquer. They were wrong. They confused technological appearance with capability. They forgot that the deadliest weapons are not the most advanced. They are the ones their users are willing to actually deploy. Humanity did not destroy the Armada with better technology. They destroyed it with better desperation, with a willingness to risk everything, with an understanding that survival sometimes requires impossible choices. That lesson spread across the galaxy. Some species learned it with respect. Others learned it with hatred. But everyone learned it, and everyone remembered. In the years that followed, no major power challenged Earth directly. Small conflicts arose, but never another Armada. The memory of what happened in Terran space was too strong. The fear was too deep. Humanity had won its place in the galaxy. Not through superior technology, not through ancient wisdom, but through the simple, terrifying demonstration that they would rather destroy everything than surrender. It was not the victory anyone wanted. It was not the peace anyone dreamed of. But it was survival. And for humans who had survived ice ages and plagues and wars and their own worst impulses, survival was everything. The stars belonged to many species now, but no one forgot which species had proven they were willing to turn those stars to dust rather than kneel. That was humanity's legacy. Not heroism, not villainy, just the cold, hard fact that they would do whatever it took to remain free. And in a galaxy of ancient civilizations that had forgotten how to fight for survival, that made all the difference. The laughter had died. The respect had been earned, and the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.